involved in the death penalty on their death certificates, this cause of death, homicide. Because that's it. And also there's one undetermined. That's it. There's nothing to this. Now, this guy, remember, we go from that into why. The notion that this is done accidentally, or excuse me, that this was done deliberately by virtue of these. Again, I'm very careful here not to go into literature, and it's not indicative. You could just rule that out completely. I would also look to see, like you mentioned, I think his cellmate, your buddy, Mr. Tartaglione, has a lot of information. I don't know what he's available to. This big hulking guy. Remember, they had a scuffle. He was kind of like, there might have been some involvement. He goes, no problem here. Okay. Also, this fella, Mr. Epstein, was in the best of moods. He was telling his lawyers, don't worry, we're going to get out of this. And his lawyer said he was in a great mood. They're saying, okay, well, whatever. I mean, normally it's not like they say that Diddy, by the way, is not in a very good mood, as you can understand. So all of this was not indicative of self-harm. Let me also tell you something interesting, which a lot of your many legions of viewers will know. If you really wanted to take care of this guy, you would take him and put him into an abandoned or an Air Force base where there's not a lot of activity there. And you would put him in a room and you would have these special lights. And these special lights would detect any kind of change in temperature, okay? Any kind of temperature dropping. This is the Al Gore. And not Al Gore, the vice president, but Al Gore Mortis, the signs of temperature, something. They would also have, depending upon how much, they would have different forms of, not plethysmographs, but basically monitoring. You would also have paper clothing. You would, every food piece. Now, there's something called, which is very interesting, and it goes back to the black art, the black arts of poisoning, and that is, they call it in the business noose on a bun. And this is where I can give you something on a regular basis, water, whatever, and it's nothing. You're fine. I give you the secondary portion, the binary component, and when it breaks down, they do a tox screen. It may you might have elevated levels of potassium or something, but there's nothing. I mean, if you really wanted to do it, you could protect him, but they didn't. Now, I don't know why. He flew in, remember this, Shaun, to a place called Teterboro in New Jersey. It's across the Hudson River in New Jersey. This is where all the private planes are. Had they wanted to absentee him, to disappear him, it would have just happened. Shaun, nobody would have noticed. They would have said, financier, Jeffrey Epstein. Who? Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, okay. It would be like, fine, he didn't show up. Well, whatever. Like, look at Ghislaine's father, Maxwell, Robert Maxwell. Whoop, he drowned. Whoop, whoop, there you go. Whoop. That would have been it. So it seems to me, you live your life like a candle in the wind. I think Elton John was onto something. No, it seems to me what they wanted to do was they wanted to specifically show you that we did this in front of everybody. It's the only thing I can figure out. We want to do this in a federal detention center, federal. And it also sends everybody else a message. Don't think you're safe. It's not just him. It's everybody else. You're not safe. Once you're in this system, remember him. Okay. So lo and behold, this was done. Now it was, so I think it's safe to say they could have done, whoever wanted him removed could have done this easier. I do not believe it was self-harm. I believe it was actually the active participation of somebody else. As you so correctly bring up before, you have apparently two, as we say, DEI, which is now code word for black or incompetent or affirmative action or quota. When you say DEI, that means today, black person, incompetent moron. I'm sorry to say this. This is the truth. We have, as you know, these terrible wildfires in Los Angeles. and it is the biggest bunch of jadruls you've ever seen. This looks like the forward, like they look like a rugby team. I mean, these are beasts, all of them, admittedly part of a Sapphic L word, group. Okay, fine. And they say it's DEI because they're saying it's the only reason for this. So anyway, so you had these incompetents walking the most important, think about this, the most important prisoner, bar none. I look at him walking with Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton. He also had this, remember years ago, this would have been before your time, there was a guy named Werner, was it Erhard or Erhard? He had Est, and there was this kind of crazy guy who loved to have these scientists come. I think Lenny Susskind and even what's his name? The fellow in the wheelchair. You know what I'm talking about, Hawking. They went to this. So there's always been this history of these rich people, and this fellow loved to hang around academics. This is his MO. He loved to bring in famous scientists. He wore Harvard T-shirts. By the way, if you ever see somebody who wears a Harvard T-shirt, they didn't go to Harvard. Nobody ever wears a Harvard T-shirt who went to Harvard. Nobody. I don't know why. They just don't. So anyway, so this guy also is very good friends with Alan Dershowitz. And Dershowitz, very prominent lawyer, very good lawyer, very, very, very active, very great defender of Israel and defender of, as many people are. You had Ehud Barak, former prime minister, who was hanging around there. You've got Epstein himself. You've got Les Wexner. You've got a coterie, a retinue of some of the greatest. Imagine, by the way, just for a second, imagine you're a lady of the evening. Damn it, would you get the picture of Hawking just for a moment? Imagine you're a lady of the evening, and you've been assigned to service that. That's all I'm saying. There isn't enough money on the planet. There aren't enough Bitcoins in existence. You've got that? Yes. And make him believe you like it. Okay, well, Betty Davis couldn't have done that acting job. All right, so let's go back. So let's look at all these people. Les Wexner. Where is he? I don't know. He's a financier. Let's go back a little bit more. In New York City, we have these. There we go. All right, honey. See the guy in the chair?
That's on the island.
Yeah.
That's on the island.
Well, so what? They're on the island. They're on the island. Half of New York was on the island. Yeah, okay.
I'm just letting the viewers know. That's all.
Oh, no, but I'm saying people think that people went to the island. If you wanted to say, for example, where all of the pervs, freaks, and degenerates are, I say coming up at the Academy Awards. Yeah. That's where they are, not this. This is like this. Okay, but let's go back to this. So you've got this guy, and you've got, again, and I know I'm not sure about you, but here in this country, oh my God, you say something about Israel, they think you're an anti-Semite. It's like, I'm telling you the truth. If I said France or the UK, nobody calls me an Anglophobe because I bring up Prince Andrew. But you happen to have a veritable who's who of some of the greatest Israeli, not Jewish, but Israeli luminaries, from Les Wexner to this, Ehud Barak, former prime minister, I mean, down the list. Okay. Now, before this happened, in his heyday, this guy, go back and look at who this Epstein fellow was. He taught at a school in New York City called Dalton. Dalton was it's not really Eton, but it's as close as we're going to get to it. Very prestigious. Upper East Side, a lot of money. He was a math teacher. He never went to college. I don't even know what he did. He's a math teacher. No, look at this. At the most prestigious, this is where people go who are trying to pad their resumes to go to, Ivy League, Harvard and Yale and all the big schools. So anyway, you would think, it's not too much to think that the math teacher knows about math. Not him. He just went there, but he was okay. And then he went from there and he worked for, I think it was somebody's father, a teacher, or somebody. He was with Morgan Stanley or somebody. He started to get involved in investment. And lo and behold, there are people who are saying, I know, believe it or not, I'm not trying to be sound like a big shot, but in New York, I know more billionaires than you probably do. I really do. It's no big deal. There's more billionaires here than you can imagine. And they're hedge funders and all this. And they'll tell you, I never heard of this guy. You knew everybody. Blackman at this, a hedge. You know the guy Cohen who owns the Mets. And you know everybody. BlackRock and this. Nobody heard of him. This guy was this monster, this genius who handled money. And they said, who is he? When did he work? Where's his office? Who were his clients? Even Bernie Madoff had an office. He was a Ponzi scheme. It was a scam. This guy, nobody knew who he was. Signals, alarm bells, everything said, this guy, something's wrong with this guy. And Shaun, people who went, all of the so-called, the journalistas, the cognoscenti, the intelligentsia of New York and all of the, the various media, they never suspected anything. They never said, who is this guy? Why does he have all this money? Why? You know this. You've been you've hung around some shady people. When it comes to con men, there's always people who are trying to just portray themselves. So anyway, this is Ehud Barak. Now, the fellow on the right is an absolute 100% hero. This is one of the bravest guys ever. Remember what he did when they did the tip of the spear? What was it? In 1972, I forget the name of the operation, to avenge the Black September. He, dressed as a woman, got on like a cigarette boat in Lebanon. He had satchel bombs and grenades in his brassiere. This guy is the baddest ass you've ever seen. I'm serious. It's true. Sometimes they kind of embellish, their war record. Not this guy. He's serious. Not like these Shaun Ryan phony CIA. Not that he's a phony, but if you notice, Shaun, these CIA kind of psyop, all these military shows. Yeah, I was a Navy SEAL. I was SAS. I was MI5. What? Why are you promoting this? Why? Oh, I like this. This channel growth into a great truth channel. I love that. Remember, truth is the last thing you want. Truth will get you killed. You don't want truth. Bill Barr. See this guy on the left? This was our attorney general, okay?
It was Bill Barr's dad who got Epstein the job at Dalton.
Bill Barr's dad, and he's not involved. Bill Barr's dad was like the headmaster or something at Dalton, got him this thing. Now, I don't know what kind of a vetting they did. What did they do? Say, do you have a pulse? Yeah, you're in. How many fingers am I holding? 4. You're in. I mean, I don't know what they did. He had no provenance, no curriculum vitae, nothing. But he's in teaching math to the children of the most influential of this, as we say in the South, that dog don't hunt. This story is really fishy. Okay, so it cut to the chase. Bill Barr also said, the attorney general looked the folks in the eye and said, I have no indication whatsoever that there's any evidence indicating anything other than self-harm on the part of Epstein. Actually had the cojones, elephantine huevos, to look you in the eye and say, I don't see anything. Deep, dark cuts, rivulets in his neck, that a thin paper, if he tried to suspend himself, he would have fallen. The guy's huge. I mean, he's a big guy. I mean, none of it makes any sense. How do you explain this? That no, everything's fine. This guy basically, they should have, like on Canva, you should have, like, whatever Bill Barr says, I'm sorry, I hope this is a family show, just have bullshit artist. Bullshit. He just spewed it. And Americans did this. Okay. Now, before we even get to this, before we get to the book, it's the background that's the most important. So I'd love to play this to a jury. I want to have those. I want to have, if I represented Epstein, or late now, but, or anybody else, they wouldn't believe anything anybody said. Now look at this. Who is this? Is this Spacey?
And Maxwell on the Queen's throne.
Is that Maxwell? It looks like Kevin Spacey.
And yeah, and Ghislaine Maxwell on the Queen's throne.
Okay. Well, first of all, Kevin Spacey, not exactly. Okay. Now, if somebody says, well, he's a freak, everybody is a freak. Remember the story with Ghislaine Maxwell? Let me tell you about her. Remember when they came to arrest her, she rented or was living in a place with these big picture windows, big. And she was sitting there, and they came, and she was reading a book. Hello, yes, and they came and they got her. Now I don't know about you. The last place I'm going to do is some secluded place in the woods where nobody would hear gunshots or me screaming in front of these big windows. I mean, it was almost like saying, "Look, GM, here's what we're going to do. You got yourself in a pickle. If you can do a couple of years, keep your mouth shut, I promise you, you will have in a place." I'm going to give you some Bitcoin numbers, okay? Just write these down. You just sit back and you just do the right thing, and that's it. Shaun, they charged her with nothing. This is the kingpin. She is the linchpin. You would have said, I'm going to charge you out the whatever. Now, in return for that, you give me everything. They charge her with nothing. Do you know? Now, this may not mean anything to you. She is the only person in the history of the United States who was actually charged with lying on a deposition in a civil lawsuit. We lie all the time. That's what you do. If I said, what? She was charged. Are you kidding me? The only one. It's just like Diddy. Shaun, Diddy's charged with a racketeering conspiracy. With whom? Nobody. He's by himself. He conspired with a conspiracy, by its definition, is an unlawful, illegal confederation between two or more people. Who is he with? Who? He's by himself. Did you ever read his indictment? Say 3 counts of, what did he do? I don't know. It's like Donald Trump's hush money case in New York. I don't understand this. I'm a lawyer. Normally it's like, oh, I know what you did. Ooh, this one was what? What did she do? So she's in Connecticut or something. She'll be out. She'll be done. I cannot believe that Biden didn't pardon her or give clemency or something. I can't believe that. She can bring down Bill Clinton. He didn't do this. Do you know the murderers and the letter R people that rhymes with escapist? Do you know how many people he pardoned and granted clemency? She must be in her cell thinking, I'm going to be getting that call pretty soon. Why? I've got to. Why? Because they didn't. I mean, okay, I was no. Shaun, let me say this again. There are like 1,500 of the worst people. We've got Venezuelan, Guatemalan animals who've done stuff that, I mean, Satanists would say, oh, dude, please. They got pardoned. She didn't get, not even commute the sentence, meaning, you know what? You've done enough. We're going to just suspend the balance. Something, throw her a bone, cut a few. Nothing. Now, what are they doing? Now, if I were her, I'd say, boy, I'd be pissed off if I were you. See, this is where you send somebody in to give her to talk to. Like, oh, I don't know about you. I'm surprised. Going, I thought you had some friends. You're sitting here eating this meatloaf here, and they're laughing at you, and they didn't even give you a commutation. Nothing. Does this make any sense to you? Does any of this make any sense?
So, viewers, the red circle is around Ghislaine Maxwell, who's attending Chelsea Clinton's wedding.
Yeah. So anyway, so she's there. But by the way, everybody in the world was at Trump's inaugural. Everybody from Zuckerberg. Oh, by the way, I loved your comment before. Can you believe that wimp, that sacco shite who stands here all of a sudden? I can't believe it. And they told us we wanted to put up a little meme that showed, and they say, what? You're the fourth richest person, and what is happening with it? You know what? Watch prediction. Watch his marriage. All right. Love on the Rocks. I think Neil Diamond said, watch that. Watch Barack Obama and Michelle. Watch Kamala, or Kamala, as we say, and her husband. Watch. I'm telling you. Watch what happens. That's an aside. So anyway, this one really loved this guy. She really loved him. And she was left holding the bag. Now, so what happens? Here we have, the question I have is, where are the recordings? I don't care about a guest list. I don't care. That's no big deal. Where are the recordings? Bill Clinton could say, I didn't do anything. Bill, yeah. I'd like you to watch this video. Can you lower the lights here? Bill, does this look familiar? Is that you? Play it. The 8mm. Bill, does she look familiar? The girl, guess how old she was in this one? 15. She look familiar to you? That's that you, Bill? Yeah, that's you, isn't it? Let me see. Your daughter would have been older. Is this you? That's the stuff I want. Now, do you know what I can do if I'm Biden, if I'm Trump, if I'm anybody, and I say, I'm working on a deal and I'm trying to get back at so-and-so through Microsoft, and this is and you can help me with this. Well, I'm not interested. You know what? Let me show you something. Before a little can you all leave the room? Yeah. Does this look familiar? This is a picture of you. Where'd you get that? It doesn't matter where I got that. Now, who are the people who would possibly be affected by that? Well, most people don't want to be involved in that, but theoretically, most people would say, I don't want to be a part of it. Now, here's my question. Shaun, if there was a picture of Bill Clinton, assuming, we have no reason to believe this, but let's assume, arguendo, for the sake of argument, as opposed to innuendo, which is an Italian suppository. But if it was Bill Clinton, what do you think would happen? What would they do to him? What are you going to do? You're going to show a picture of him doing, okay, yeah, that's me. Is that you? It sure was. Yeah, that's me, all right. That's illegal. It sure is. Well, where was this? Well, it was in a place that was in some international waters, or I don't know where. There he is. Is that you? Sure was. That's me. You know how old she was? I don't know. Is that against the law? Well, there's more than that, Bill. And there were people, by the way, who were hired. One of them, if I recall correctly, wanted to be a masseuse herself. Okay. So here's my question, Shaun. What are you going to do with it? What do you think you're going to do to a former two-term president who's walking around, and he, by the way, is starting to show the signs of the Sicilian flu? You know what that is. This is when you start to like Joe Biden did. Joe Biden, right before the indictment's about to fall, better lay off that stuff. That'll kill you. Right before the indictment, right before, all of a sudden you start having heart palpitations. You got to go to the doctor, like in the movie Casino. Okay? So what's going to happen to Bill Clinton? Nothing. Now, next question is, where are these women? How many of these women were paid off? They're going to say, I'm not going to go. You got to have somebody to authenticate it. If you want to drop the ball and say, okay, let me show you something. When I got a picture of you and this girl, because in the next scene, you're not going to like, they've got you squatting over a goldfish bowl and picking up small change the hard way. Okay, great. Where is this woman? Who? This woman. The one who's going to authenticate this. The one who, because with this AI today, hell, I don't know what it is. I don't believe anything. No, seriously. A picture's worth 1,000 words? Not anymore. So I want you to bring her into court, have her swear what happened. No, go get her. Whoever this person is, you don't mind doing that. Well, she might have signed a settlement. Signed a what? A settlement. A settlement. With whom? Yeah. Well, doesn't matter. Don't you have a, yeah, but if she violates it, well, where is she? Where are these victims? Who's complaining? Who? Do you know how many of them were paid off? Do you know how